A sign of Dublin's determination to win the Leinster Championship today is the fact that 3 players line out with broken noses: Tommy Carr, Dave Foran and Mick Galvin. So good was Dave Foran when introduced against Louth that he regains his place at midfield. The rest of the Dublin selection is along familiar lines. Curran, Barr and Heary form a very formidable half-back line, while the half-forward line of Charlie Redmond, Jack Sheedy and Niall Guyden showed great potential in the semi-final. The Lily Whites make one positional switch from the semi-final. Captain Martin Lynch moves from full forward to corner forward, with a possible plan to roam around Croke Park. Niall Buckley and Sean McGovern will be severely tested in midfield, while the forwards, particularly Jarlath Gilroy and Johnny MacDonald, have looked threatening. Experience there is plenty, with a full back line of Davy Dalton, John Crofton and Sauce Dowling. A tremendous atmosphere here in Croke Park. The Leinster final living up to all its pre-match expectations in terms of atmosphere. It really is like a cup final day in any part of the world. A very strong breeze will favour Dublin in the first half. A game that certainly hampered the minor semi-final replay. It'll be interesting to see what happens in the senior game. The referee is Brian White from Rathgarrow, Cushenstown, County Wexford. It's a wonderful atmosphere here. Many colours, white, blue, you name it, we have it in Croke Park. And away we go. Kildare tried to bridge a long gap, their last Leinster Championship in 1956. And Dublin playing with that wind to their backs. And here comes Kildare. It's Brian Fahey from Leixlip going through, taking a shot, and it's over the bar. A wonderful start after 20 seconds by Brian Fahey, one of Kildare's under-21 stars.
A great start for Kildare. Their running game shouldn't be too much inconvenienced by the strong wind. Brian Fahey put through a couple of Dublin defenders running into each other and giving Kildare the best possible start and a great boost to his confidence.
John O'Leary with the kick out. Ball into space. And Niall Guyden run on to, giving it back to Tommy Carr, the captain of the Metropolitans. Getting it down towards Mick Galvin. No questions being asked even at this stage. Mick Galvin with an astronomical kick, and he puts it over the bar. And we still have only 1 minute played.
This game really starting at a hectic pace. Anthony Rainbow going down on a low ball, probably should have got it free. Mick Galvin is there to take advantage of it and kick a massive point from play. A great start for him as well.
Kick out goes down the middle. Charlie Redmond is there. Anthony Rainbow coming forward and is fouled. Well, there really mustn't be a soul left in the Curragh, Newbridge, Naas, because they're all here in Croke Park. Getting it back. Centre half back, Glenn Ryan. Down towards Jarlath Gilroy. Testing time for Jerry Hargan. Not if Jarlath Gilroy takes shots like that, however. Hogan stand is packed to capacity. Tickets were at a premium. And already they're enjoying this match as John O'Leary drives it down. Wind to his backs. Charlie Redmond being held. And it's from where the ball landed. Charlie, so deadly against Louth. And Paul Curran telling Brian Fahey to get out of the way and stop intimidating Charlie Redmond. And the referee, Brian White, is coming in to both players and telling both of them to cool matters down. From 55 metres out. Drops it in. Vinnie Murphy can't collect it easily. Kildare survive. This is Declan Kerrigan. Switching play over to the far overside. Jarlath Gilroy bringing Jerry Hargan way out of position. Hargan wins this battle, however. Gives it to Dave Ford, switching play again. Charlie Redmond trying to knock it down, and the referee has blown his whistle. Charlie with his second attempt. Coming around. Hitting it sweetly, and hitting it over the bar. And the Hill 16 comes alive, thanks to Charlie Redmond. Knocked away by Dave Foran. This is Declan Kerrigan. Anthony Rainbow switching it over towards Martin Lynch, who's going to give Tommy Carr a world tour of Croke Park this afternoon. Brian Fahey sending it in towards Johnny McDonald. Good play by Kildare. Mick Deegan staying off him, but Johnny McDonald getting inside, taking a shot and putting it over. Kildare 2 points, Johnny McDonald and Brian Fahey 1 point each. Dave Ford. Anthony Rainbow half getting there. Desi Farrell gets there, the only one of the Dublin under-21 side that lost the Leinster final to Kildare. Giving it inside to Paul Clark. Dangerously across, Vinnie Murphy. Taking a shot, and that's a great point by Vinnie Murphy. Trinity Gales man looking dangerous at the edge of the square.
Great play by Paul Clark over in the corner. Switches the play right across the field, the way any forward should do it. And Vinnie Murphy is able to get on the end and kick the brilliant point. Match has started at a fantastic pace, and we've had 4 brilliant scores from play in the first 7 minutes.
Eamon Heary. Up towards Vinnie Murphy. Gone inside is Charlie Redmond, but Gerald Gannon is there. He knocks it out of his hands. Oh, heart-stopping moments for the people of Kildare. Paul Curran to Tommy Carr to Paul Clark. Can score from here. Puts it up into the clouds and puts it over the bar. A wonderful point by Paul Clark.
Quick free by Eamon Heary. Dublin will want to get the ball forward as quickly as possible to keep the Kildare back spread out. Flicked on by Vinnie Murphy, and Gerald Gannon came out to collect. Should have been able to withstand the challenge by Charlie Redmond, but jumped up into the tackle, and lucky enough that Davy Dalton was around to cover off for him.
It's interesting, Colm, that Dublin backs are being pulled out of all sorts of positions, really.
Yes, and the Kildare forwards have been managing to get out in front most of the time for all of the balls going in.
Another fray for Kildare. Martin Lynch being fouled by Tommy Carr. Opportunity for Kildare, and took it splendidly. Just 1 point between the sides, thanks to Niall Buckley. Niall Buckley getting a boot to it. That's a line ball for Dublin. Desi Farrell battling it out with Sos Dowling. This is Farrell sending it over towards McGalvin and Niall Guyton. Eamon Heary, the left half back, coming forward and putting it over the bar. Well, the accuracy so far in this Leinster final has been impeccable. And the left half back from St. Vincent's knows exactly where the goalposts are. But now we have a scuffle around the middle of the field, and all hell has broken out. Keith Barr and Tom Harris is engaging in a mixture of chasing and harassing. There's a Dublin man stretched on the ground, so too is a Kildare man. Anthony Rainbow has gone down, and officials are now on the field. Paddy Cullen is on, as well as Mick O'Dwyer.
If the referee is going to take stern action, he could send off several players at this stage. Maybe that will be enough to let off a bit of steam and things will settle down. But it was a great point by Eamon Heary, but at the time Eamon Heary kicked that point, there were several players lying on the ground after getting wallops off the ball.
Glenn Ryan is the man that's being attended to there. Dr. Mulvihill there from Kildare attending to one of the Kildare players. Anthony Rainbow and Charlie Redmond now being spoken to and saying that he's taking no more of this. Tension on the faces of the huge gathering, including members of the government.
Well, here we have the incident that took place where there was the row started from Desi Farrell getting the ball, and his late charge there by Glenn Ryan, and I think some of the Dublin players at that stage then went to take the law into their own hands when there was no free given. Gerard Gannon's pick out. Again,
no effort whatsoever to catch the ball. Paul Clark knocking it down. Paul Kern coming forward, as the Dublin half-back line love to do, and they also love to score. Eamon Heary did it a few moments ago. Paul Kern has done it now. That's 2 points for the Dublin half-back line. Comes down to Niall Buckley. Good low ball into his forwards each time. Johnny McDonald, Tom Harris getting it back for Sean McGovern. Niall Buckley to take this free to reduce Dublin's lead to 2 points. And he puts it over the apprentice electrician in Newbridge. Makes it 6 points to 4. Again the flick on from Dave Ford, but the break picked up by Glenn Ryan. To Martin Lynch. Spends more time out by the sideline than he does at corner forward. Tommy Carr taking none of it. That's good defending by Carr. And Tommy Carr going for an Oscar award. And referee Brian White telling Tommy, come on, let's get on with it. Much to the delight of the Kildare crowd.
Well, there's no prisoners being taken in this game, and Tommy Carr had done very well to take the ball off Martin Lynch and was fouled there, but the referee quite rightly told him to get out of it.
Here comes Keith Barr. Oh, what a magnificent goal! The half-back line of Dublin have now scored 1 goal and 2 points. Well, Keith Barr, an unstoppable shot to the back of Gerard Gannon's net. Hill 16 comes alive.
Well, we won't see a goal like that for a long time again. Great play by Charlie Redmond. Keith Barr coming through, 21 yards out, an absolutely unstoppable shot. We won't see as good a goal as that for a long time. One of Kildare's problems at the moment is Gerard Gannon's kick-outs are quite short, and Dublin midfielders are coming and punching the ball forward.
Just remember that Dublin are playing with a very strong breeze to their backs. That's a foul for Tom Harris on Keith Barr. Charlie Redmond to take this 40-metre free. Again comes at it at an unusual angle, but who cares about the style? It's the accuracy that counts, and Charlie gets his 2nd point of the Leinster final.
Well, Charlie on relatively easy frees bends them. When they're far out, he tends to kick them straight. On that one, he just chipped it up, and the wind was able to take it in.
The Hill 16 is buzzing with tension and excitement. Still talking about that brilliant Keith Barr goal. Tommy Carr, more settled now at left cornerback. Not a great kick out by Gerard Gannon, but it works out for Kildare. This is Tom Harris. Sending a good ball into space. The wind holding it up slightly. It was enough for Jerry Hargan to get a fist to it. Paul Curran onto Paul Clark. Whitehall, Colm Killsman, driving it long and in towards Vinnie Murphy. John Crofton, well done. Excellent play. Playing in his 17th championship. Dublin players incensed and annoyed with the incident and Brian White's attention being called, and he's going into the umpires to have a consultation. And the referee coming back to have a word with John Crofton, and the umpire was very adamant for whatever he said to Brian White.
An absolutely brilliant catch here by John Crofton. Takes it out of Vinnie Murphy's hands and bursts out with it. And when he had got the free, then he swung around and hit Vinnie Murphy on the back of the head. Referee really had no option but to boot him and throw up the ball.
Throw ball lands back into the arms of Glenn Ryan, who gets the free. Glenn Ryan driving it in, and here he is there. Gets enough of a touch Get it back past Paul Kern and Tommy Carr. 8 minutes left to the half-time whistle. Just remember, after that bout of fisticuffs, there could well be extra few minutes. Vinnie Murphy along the touchline, needs a little bit of support, cutting it across, but he takes the point. Good play by Vinnie Murphy. That's his second point of the Leinster final.
Dublin really playing well, but that point was made there by a brilliant punch inside by Jack Sheedy. Spotted Vinnie Murphy on his own, and Vinnie Murphy punches it over the bar. A goal certainly on if he had to see Mick Galvin coming rushing in.
Better kick out this time by Gerard Gannon. Caught superbly by Sean McGovern and did well to hold on to it. Niall Buckley being harassed by Dave Foran. This is Jarlath Gilroy. And again the Kildare forwards running all over the place. Niall Buckley has gone inside. Trying to drop it in. Comes across to Jarlath Gilroy. Can't get a hand to it. Dave Foran is there. So too is Tommy Carr. Mick Deegan. He's the cornerback. Dublin loving this attacking sort of game. Driving it up towards Dessie Farrell. John Crofton is there. Trying to find Martin Lynch. Charlie Redmond calling him. Free up for the Lily Whites. Anthony Rainbow to take this free. Plays his club football with Suncroft in the Curragh. Paul Kern. Charlie Redmond loose and free. Ball to test a fullback. John Crofton and Vinnie Murphy. And that's going to be a hot ball. Having a great battle there. Sean McGovern and Vinnie Murphy. Well, I don't know what kind of an attempt that was. Vinnie Murphy using the shoulder effectively. Driving it in, off the post. Peter McConnon is there. Under pressure. Goes off Niall Guyton, line ball for Kildare. Tommy Carr looking a little bit more confident now. Charlie Redmond. Sauce Dowling giving it to Niall Buckley. Kildare now trying to engineer. The Dublin tackling and marking is simply superb. They're harassing and chasing everything. Paul Clark getting inside to Vinnie Murphy. Mick Galvin is inside, but Vinnie unable to get past John Crofton. But he gets the left boot to the ball and he puts the leather over the bar. Vinnie Murphy suffering a small bit as a result of that, but it's still a superb point.
Well, Niall Buckley committing a cardinal error there for Dublin, getting caught in possession when he was soloing, when he should have been kicking the ball inside. Paul Clark picks up the pieces and gives inside to Vinnie Murphy, and Vinnie Murphy does very well off his left foot. Looked around to see could he get someone to lay it off to him. When he didn't, he had a go and kicked a great point.
The Hill 16 in full voice, telling the Lily Whites, even at this stage, lads, you're in trouble. Gannon's kick out. This is Mick Deegan. Johnny McDonald bringing him all over the place. And Mick Deegan loves, of course, to go forward just as much as his colleagues in the half-back line. Paul Clark holding up the ball and fouling it. And really, Kildare need a score just before the half-time whistle. Keith Barr and Tom Harris exchanging a few blows when they reach terra firma. And Brian White in quickly to cool it down. Jack Sheedy unable to prevent it getting past Martin Lynch. Lynch getting it into Gilroy. This is Brian Fahey. Brian Fahey dropping it in, and John O'Leary will say no problem whatsoever.
Kildare forwards were causing a lot of problems for the first 20 minutes. They were always out in front of their men and able to get possession and turn their Dublin markers. But the Dublin backs now have the Kildare forwards fairly well tied up at the moment.
Paul Clark unable to hold on to it after a great lead. Tom Harris getting it inside to Martin Lynch. Keith Barr trying to recover. Still Lynch, and Keith Barr dispossesses him. Great play by the centre half back. But Kildare continue to exert the pressure. Johnny MacDonald, one of the point scorers, getting inside, trying to get inside, and Mick Deegan fouling him.
Great play there by Keith Barr to dispossess Martin Lynch, who had got away from Tommy Carr when the goal chance looked on.
Declan Kerrigan, half-time, very near at the moment. Tommy Carr lashing it right down the middle. Charlie Redmond getting it for his Glenn Ryan. This is Niall Buckley. Anthony Rainbow cutting through. It's good play by the left half back. Ball coming loose. It's heart-stopping stuff. It's really shoulder to shoulder, hip to hip. Brian White doing well, considering the tension and the emotion. Remember that bout of fisticuffs, we estimate, lost about 3 minutes of actual playing time. Interesting to see how much Brian White adds on as Buckley floats it to the right and wide. And that's a bad miss by Niall Buckley coming up to half-time.
Yes, Kildare needed a point. They've gone a long time without a score, and that was a relatively easy free. Niall Buckley won't be happy with that, because it's more or less straight in front of the goals, and Kildare really needed one just to settle them down.
Quick kick out comes to Tommy Carr. Charlie Redmond, Anthony Rainbow knocking it away. Paul Kern is there to pick up the break. Mick Deegan is available to his left. Kern decides to aim at Vinnie Murphy. Desi Farrell going through and taking a point. And the Fianna man, the only Dublin under-21 player on the actual first 15, scores his first point in the Leinster final.
Long ball from Paul Curran, same as Dublin have been doing for the whole first half, kicking the ball long and letting their forwards get in on the ball. Knocked down by Vinnie Murphy. Desi Farrell does well, breaks through a couple of tackles, but the Dublin style of play of just getting the ball into their forwards is really working.
Brian White looking at his watch, and he's blown the half-time whistle after 37.5 minutes of play. And the crowd respond to what they've seen in the first half. A bout of fisticuffs that would have done Mike Tyson proud, and a spectacular goal by Keith Barr. But at half-time, Dublin lead, having had wind advantage by 110 to Kildare's 4 points. Decide who wins the Leinster title. Kildare with wind advantage for the next 35 minutes. Referee deems that Johnny MacDonald was fouling Mick Deegan. And Dublin, of course, will be very cool and collected in the second half, trying to calm matters down at every opportunity. This is one of them, in no rush whatsoever with the free. Keith Barr. Superbly gathered by Sean McGovern. The referee says he took too many steps with the ball. That's a free for Dublin.
Fairly harsh decision there on Sean McGovern after making such a good catch.
50 metres out in the Kildare posts. Driving it in, but driving it wide. Ball aimed at Martin Lynch. Can't hold on to it. And it comes out to Dave Foran. Trying to find Desi Farrell. Gets inside Sauce Dowling. Still Desi Farrell, and that's going to be a free. And that's an easy one for Kildare to concede, and a vital one because it gives Dublin the advantage. Charlie Redmond with 2 points to his credit so far. get the first point of the second half and put 10 points between the Metropolitans and the Lily Whites. He puts it over the bar. It's 111 to 4 points.
Charlie Redmond has put a huge amount of practice into kicking frees, and it's really paying off for Dublin this year. But Desi Farrell, who won that free, has played very well in the corner and has got nearly every ball that's gone in, and he won a very good free there and an easy point for Charlie.
Gerard Cannon's kick out. Declan Kerrigan getting a boot to it and runs on kindly for Tom Harris and Reben. Harris passing the 20-metre line, getting it onto the boot, but he sends it wide. Good running by Tom Harris, but a very important miss. Kildare need a score.
Very good run there by Tom Harris. Paul Clark, who was dispossessed initially, then he shows that type of motivation that the Dublin players have today. Gets back to get in a challenge, so does Keith Barr, and between two of them they do enough to put him off and kick it wide.
The break for Keith Barr. Fouled by Charlie Kilroy, and there was a boot flying very much in the direction of Keith Barr, and Paul Kern waves a finger at Charlie Kilroy. Dave Foran, the marking by Kildare leaves a lot to be desired. Foran, despite the mistake, gathers it again, but takes too many steps. Johnny McDonald. McDeegan, well recovered by the cornerback, but the referee has given the free to Kildare. Niall Buckley to take the free, trailing by 111 to 4 points. 6.5 minutes gone in the second half. Dropping it in, and John O'Leary, well caught. Good goalkeeping, and gets it up towards Niall Guyton. Peter McConnon gets the break. Dublin harassing and chasing in packs, but still McConnon gets it in towards Martin Lynch. Outside, Declan Kerrigan, back to Charlie Kilroy, to Tom Harris. Oh, brilliant save by John O'Leary. Brilliantly stopped, and Niall Guyton, the left half forward, is back in a left half back position to gather the break. Tommy Carr quickly taking it. Non-stop action all the way in Croke Park. John Crofton to Davy Dalton. Getting it up for Sean McGovern to Niall Buckley. Kildare to test out the Dublin defence. McDeegan available. Jerry Hargan, Fire Brigade man, doing well at fullback. To Jack Sheedy, the Garda. To Paul Curran. The Dublin machine shows that they're fairly well oiled for this Leinster final. Curran survives the challenge. Buckley is the one that actually suffered the injury. Into Jack Sheedy. Great move by Dublin, and wounded by a rather poor kick by Jack Sheedy. That's a great run by Dublin, though.
Great play by Dublin there after nearly conceding a goal. John O'Leary, showing his value to Dublin, has been in absolutely fantastic form this year and getting out very quick to block it. Niall Buckley's free, getting in, and John O'Leary getting up very safe right under the crossbar. A very, very difficult ball for the goalkeeper. Very good interpassing here by the Kildare forwards, getting the ball to Tom Harris, but again John O'Leary out 7 or 8 yards out, and a brilliant stop.
Paul McLaughlin is introduced at left half forward for Kildare. Changes in the Lily White lineup. Tommy Carr. Ask questions later, get rid of it first. Well won by Glenn Ryan. And fouled. Niall Buckley under pressure with this kick on the Dublin 45. He hits it, sweet and true. So Kildare are back in business. 111 to 5 points. Still, the Kildare crowd look very worried, still not convinced that they can bridge that gap since 1956 and win the Leinster title.
Well, Niall Buckley has missed a couple, and that'll have settled Kildare down a little at the start of the second half. Niall Buckley now playing at centre half forward, Tom Harris gone to midfield.
Sean McGovern knocking it down to Paul McLaughlin, the army man, giving it to Charlie Kilroy. Ball into no man's land, really. Tom Harris comes through on it. And Mick Deegan, good play by the right cornerback, giving it to Eamon Heary, bursting past the challenge of Declan Carrigan. Still Heary. Referee now gives him the free. Well, that shot there just gives you an idea of the strength of the breeze here in Croke Park. Dublin playing against it. 11 minutes into the second half, and this is the centre half back, almost inside the Kildare 13-metre line. John Crofton lashes it straight down the middle. Jerry Hargan can leave it safe in the knowledge that Eamon Heary is there. Switching play, Glenn Ryan, good play by the youngster from Round Tars. Niall Buckley, Paul McLaughlin is looking for it long, trying to get inside his marker. Back to Jarlath Gilroy, and that's going to the left and wide, and that's a bad miss by Jarlath Gilroy, and most unfortunate for Kildare.
Martin Lynch doing very well to get the ball out to Jarlath Gilroy, and really should have been an easy point for Jarlath Gilroy from that distance, and Kildare need points. They've gone 12 minutes in the second half and they've only got 1 point.
Dave Foran receiving a knock there. Pat O'Neill again checking that his midfielder is okay. Kick out by John O'Leary. Sean McGovern knocking it down for Jarlath Gilroy. Really, the Lily Whites need a goal to make any worthwhile challenge in this second half. Niall Buckley is a man available as Paul McLaughlin. Drives it in, long and true, and that is a great point by Paul McLaughlin. Paul McLaughlin from Clane brings Kildare very much into contention.
Kildare having a lot of pressure but haven't been getting much scores. Niall Buckley in possession there, releasing Paul McLaughlin, who's only on as a substitute, and Paul McLaughlin kicks a very good point. An awkward shot there for a left-footed player from that side of the field, but he puts it over very nicely.
The referee has stopped play and has given a free. In fact, he's allowing a substitute come in for Dublin. He obviously had blown the whistle. And centre forward Jack Sheedy is gone off, and coming in is Pat Gilroy. The wind curling John O'Leary's kick over to this side, picked up by Johnny MacDonald. Martin Lynch calling for it in around the house, and in it goes. Declan Carrigan watching for the break. Lynch gathering it superbly. This time he has a lash, and this time he finds the target. That's a good point by Martin Lynch. So maybe the Kildare selectors are right to leave him in around the house.
Absolutely brilliant point there by Martin Lynch. Johnny MacDonald getting the ball. I don't know whether he was going for a score or crossing it, but fantastic fielding by Martin Lynch here, right up above everybody, and of course that's one of his strongest points, and then a left-footed point.
Slowly but surely, Kildare bring down that Dublin lead. 7 points between the sides. 16 minutes gone in the second half. It's another free for Kildare. Jerry Hargan getting there ahead of Jarlath Gilroy, giving it out towards Niall Guyton. Just remember that Kildare do have a strong breeze to their backs. As noticeable as the points are going over, the Kildare contingent in a packed Croke Park become a little bit more confident. Tommy Carr coming out with it. Giving it to Dave Foran. On to Mick Deegan. This is the beauty of the Dublin team at the moment. They attack virtually from goalkeeper out. Peter McConnon. Charlie Redmond. Vinnie Murphy. McConnon given the benefit of the doubt. Straight to Niall Buckley. Looking for a loose player. Again, they pump it in long and true. O'Leary anticipating well, and it squirts it out over the line. And that, in fact, is very good play by John O'Leary.
Yes, and wastes another few seconds. Kildare doing very well around the middle of the field now, and particularly Glenn Ryan, who has been very, very strong and forceful and determined at centre half-back.
Anthony Rainbow trying to get there ahead of Paul Clark. Sauce Dowling, man from Moorfield, switching it over towards Declan Kerrigan, cleverly knocking it down to Niall Buckley, going straight through, still Buckley, trying to get inside Mick Deegan. He's in a good scoring position now, and he's made a very good angle, and a very good point for Niall Buckley. And all of a sudden, Croke Park comes alive to the brilliant white colour and white flags.
A great point for Kildare there after a brilliant catch by Sauce Dowling in the corner and given up to Niall Buckley. Niall Buckley at centre half forward and had lost Keith Barr there for a moment. Keith Barr acknowledging that he was missing when he should have been marking him, and Niall Buckley can't be let loose or he'll kick point.
Kildare people now just beginning to sense that this Kildare team are back in business. Keith Barr. Referee saying play on. Dave Foran giving it back towards Keith Barr. Bit optimistic. Kildare growing in confidence. You can even sense it and feel it up here. Tom Harris to Paul McLaughlin. Survives Tommy Carr's challenge. Still Paul McLaughlin going for a point, and he puts it over the bar. Kildare are back very much in contention for their first Leinster title since 1956. His second point of the afternoon, and there's just a little bit of a smile coming back to the Kildare people.
Kildare have Dublin very much rattled at the moment, and a good pass and movement down the field, and Paul McLaughlin survives a hefty challenge there, and it's been a good substitution for Kildare, kicking another point from play.
That wind is no doubt making a difference to Kildare, but can they keep the pressure on? 15 minutes left in Croke Park in the 1992 Leinster final.
Kildare can bridge this gap with points alone if they're patient enough. Dublin need to get back up for a score to take the pressure off.
Desi Farrell, Sauce Dowling knocking it down. Anthony Rainbow intercepting and been given the free. Tom Harris looking for it. A quick one. Instead, it's aimed at Niall Buckley, who's made a substantial contribution since he moved to centre-half forward. This is Martin Lynch and Tommy Carr. Lynch started behind Carr, but he got there in the end, and he takes a long-range shot. Oh, a brilliant point by Lynch. The 22-year-old accountancy student from Clane. He's the captain, and he's now suddenly beginning to show the inspiration. The women from Kildare are beginning to believe in the men of Kildare.
And Niall Buckley making a big impression at centre forward at the moment and playing in good ball to the inside forwards. Martin Lynch doing very well after starting behind Tommy Carr there. Gets the ball off the ground and kicks a fantastic point.
21 minutes gone in the second half. Now just 4 points between the sides. Anthony Rainbow. All of a sudden it's Kildare around Croke Park. Rainbow taking too many steps. And they really would want to eliminate silly mistakes such as that. Charlie Redmond has gone down with cramp.
Bad mistake by Anthony Rainbow, hopping the ball twice there when Charlie Redmond was down injured.
Dave Foran has no longer any part to play in this Leinster final, but he's already played a major role for the Metropolitans. Paul Beelan, number 19 at centre-half forward.
Dublin won't want to take off Charlie Redmond, even though he's been hobbling now for about 15 or 20 minutes, because they paid the price in the National League semi-final taking him off when they had no regular free taker.
It's an old cliche, often used in GAA. But this is very much a game of two halves. Charlie, leg or no leg injured, bursts his way through, dispossessed spectacularly by Sos Dowling to Paul McLaughlin. It's all white around Croke Park. The Lily Whites go forward in numbers. This particular attack interrupted by Jerry Hargan. Quickly taken to McDeegan. Dangerous pass, but it worked out. Paul Beelan, just introduced for Dave Foran, sending a ball up towards Mick Galvin. Allowed the advantage by the referee. Davy Dalton staying with him. And the referee giving the free to Dublin for holding by Davy Dalton. And Kildare cannot afford to give away silly frees like this.
That's good play by Mick Galvin. Dublin needed a forward inside to get the ball and hold on to it and attack his man. And Mick Galvin did just what was badly needed at the moment, because Dublin are definitely rattled and Kildare are completely over them in most parts of the field. The biggest problem from a Kildare point of view is that Jarlath Gilroy is going nowhere against Jerry Hargan and has now been taken off. Mick O'Dwyer probably held on a little longer than he should have in making that substitution. Noel Donlan now on.
This free for Charlie Redmond to put a little bit more breathing space between the Dubs and the Kildare people, and he puts it over the bar. 5 points between the sides.
Yes, we see now why Charlie's on the field, even though he definitely is injured and is hardly able to run at this stage. But Dublin don't have a free taker if he goes off, and now he's settled them down with that point.
Just 10 minutes left. Dublin 5 points to the good. The Kildare are not giving up the chase. Fairly high challenge there by Paul Clark on Declan Kerrigan. Quickly taken by Kerrigan and Mick Deegan. Great play by the cornerback. Anticipating well, and a good interception, and continues on for the return pass for Eamon Heary. Ball into space for Charlie Redmond. Sos Dowling. Ball falls into the arms of Davy Dalton and gets the free. Ball falls down for Niall Guyton. Peter McConnon getting a boot to it, and it comes to Declan Kerrigan, adding to it nicely for Johnny McDonald to run onto. And that is unquestionably a free. No attempt whatsoever to play the ball by Keith Barr. It's a free for Kildare, and Keith Barr being booked by the referee. Paul McLaughlin driving it in, off the post and wide. To Keith Barr. Paul Curran to his right. Then hold on to it for as long as possible before delivery. Paul Curran. Dangerously in towards Vinnie Murphy. Davy Dalton comes to Charlie. Oh, and a brilliant save by Gerald Gannon. But Gerald Gannon has come to his side's rescue. Brilliantly stopped at the boot of Charlie Redmond.
Great run up the field by Keith Barr. Release it to Paul Curran, and Paul Curran's long kick inside is broken down. It looked as if Charlie was in here the same way as he was against Offaly in the game in Tullamore. A great advance by Gerald Gannon. Charlie probably a little bit too close, but that, if he had to score that one, that would have finished the game.
29 minutes gone in the second half. Charlie Redmond with the 45. Oh, that's a sweet, great kick by Charlie Redmond. That puts plenty of breathing space between the Dubs and the Kildare lads. Anthony Rainbow. Back to Declan Kerrigan. To Sean McGovern. This is a good build-up by Kildare. Giving it to Niall Buckley. Has to be really a goal here. Declan Kerrigan driving it in low. Oh dear. Inches to the wrong side of the post. A great effort by Declan Kerrigan.
Great movement up the field by Kildare, releasing to the ball to the man running on all the time. Niall Buckley doing well, getting it into Declan Kerrigan, and goes for a goal a long way out, but Keith Barr stuck it from there the first half, and Kildare needed that to have any chance.
Quickly taken to Keith Barr. Half blocked down. Declan Kerrigan coming in. Martin Lynch coming through. Johnny McDonald this side. It has to be a goal or nothing at all. Back to Lynch. Shot on. Oh, to the other side of the post. Two incredible misses by Kildare. They're able to penetrate, but they're finishing just off target.
A bit of lax defending by Dublin again. Keith Barr with an opportunity to kick the ball long and allowed himself to get blocked down. And the ball is worked through here again. Johnny McDonald inside to Martin Lynch, and Martin Lynch with a low shot. If it had to be a foot the other side, it certainly would be in the corner of the net.
Paul Clark pumping it forward. Knocked away by John Crofton. It comes down to Peter McConnon. Declan Kerrigan manages to get it for his Glen Ryan. Up towards Paul McLaughlin. Ball inside to Johnny McDonald, and O'Leary gets a touch to it. Once again, O'Leary comes to the rescue of Dublin. The umpires maintain O'Leary didn't touch it. Let's see it again.
Well, a very good ball in there by Paul McLaughlin. Threads it right through to Johnny McDonald. And Johnny McDonald shoots at the outside of the foot, tries to put it in the corner, puts it the wrong side, but credit again to John O'Leary, who was out very fast and put him off.
The break. Balls to Kildare man. Martin Lynch. High, dangerous, and O'Leary comes out bravely and courageously and puts it out for 45.
And again, John O'Leary to the rescue of Dublin, comes out under severe pressure here under this ball, but again, never takes his eye off it and punches it out.
Referee blows the final whistle. Dublin have done it at last. The hill comes alive. Paddy Cullen's men finally prove the critics wrong. They're a team that have the potential always to win a Leinster championship, but today they've done it at the expense of Kildare. A marvellous day for Dublin when they prove a point, and once and for all, Dublin are back in business. The final score from Croke Park: Dublin 113, Kildare 10 points. Dublin play Clare in the All-Ireland football semi-final.
Right, as opposed to the Louth game where we had so many wides, but I feel that we did the same thing in the Louth game. I thought we made great opportunities and great chances. The only difference is that we didn't take them. However, today we took the chances, and we even took chances that we probably didn't deserve to score. So from that point of view, I mean, you learn as you go on in championship games, and that's the only real place that you can learn about your team and about individuals on the team. So from that point of view, we had good homework done today. We things sized up well, and it came together well on the day.
You always maintain that your defence works as a unit, but your half-back line, and you're very much a central part of it, seems to be more impressive as the games go on.
Yeah, we do play as a unit. I thought Tommy Carr had a very good game. John Lee pulled off a superb save, so that proves. Jerry Harrigan had a sound game. Deegan was absolutely superb, so that proves we do play as a unit. I mean, we're the half-back line in position that we can go forward. Maybe we're lucky, but I mean, we play as a unit, and no one takes credit for any part of the defence.
Did you reserve the Leinster final for a special goal, or do you score goals like that all the time?
It just happened on the day, and maybe it's a bit of luck, and that was it. You know, it was a nice one, wasn't it?
Very much so, actually.
We had to win today. I think someone said in the dressing room before the game, it's like going to war. If we lose, some of us aren't coming back, and that was true today. So it was a big day for us, and we had to prove it on the day. Over the last number of years, Meath have been on top of us, and we didn't want to let Kildare start getting on top of us now. and thankfully today we came through the test.
There was a lot of things I was disappointed with as well. I mean, we've missed more scores now again today that should have been put away. But we're saving them all up for the big day when we go down and visit your county, please God.
We've been beaten now in a few finals. The Meath side of last year, losing that was a major disaster for us. And players like myself, I think Charlie, Jerry Hargan, Tommy Carr, we felt like possibly if we'd lost today, it would have been our last game today for Dublin.
Well, Kildare supporters had spent the past few weeks dreaming of Leinster success, but, well, the dream is over, giving best to a stronger Dublin team on the day. Let's take a look at the statistics from that match. Dublin's containing game on Kildare's forwards was certainly very successful, especially in the early stages of the match, but it also resulted in them conceding a very high number of frees, 28 as opposed to Kildare's 16. But Dublin did succeed in correcting one major flaw from their semi-final performance against Louth, that in the matter of wayward shooting in front of the posts. Dublin kicked 7 wides, just about half the Kildare total. So after a rather hectic 70 minutes at Croke Park this afternoon, let's see what Colin O'Rourke thought of this year's Leinster football final.
Well, it was the best championship match I've seen this year. The first half opened at an absolutely fantastic pace, and it held up for most of the game. There was a period in the second half when things died a little bit, but it was a great occasion. There was great colour and great atmosphere, and it was a really hard, tough championship match.
Keith Barr and the Dublin lads maintained that their defence works as a unit, but their half-back line in particular, I mean, they got 1-2 in the opening quarter of an hour.
Yes, the Dublin half-backs at that time were very dominant and continued to be so for most of the game. And I think Jerry Hargan and Tommy Carr as well had exceptionally good games for Dublin in that defence. But I think it was their ability to strike forward when they had the wind in the first half that made the crucial difference.
How relevant was the row, was the scuffle? Because it seemed to affect Kildare more than it affected Dublin.
I think the row was significant because the Kildare players were young and inexperienced. Things were going fairly well for them at that time, and Dublin seemed to get more hyped up after that incident and dominated the rest of the first half. And I think Kildare only scored one more point after that bit of a melee that took place for the remainder of the first half.
In many ways, Keith Barr was lucky to stay on the pitch because he had a right old go at Tom Harris.
Yes, Keith and Tom Harris had a bit of a go at each other at that time, and I think a few other players were involved as well. The referee didn't see any of it, which was lucky enough from all the players involved point of view. But the game was being played at such a pace and there was a lot of tension in it. And then after that, things settled down and the game was played in an exceptionally good spirit.
Your thoughts on the referee, his overall performance?
Well, I think the referee had a good game. I think he probably let a good bit go, which suited Dublin to a point, because I think one of the principal differences between the teams is that Dublin were stronger and more physical insofar as they were able to take the knocks which go with championship football. I think that was shown a couple of times in the second half when Niall Buckley ran into Paul Curran and Len Ryan ran into David Foran, I think it was, and fair shoulders, and the Kildare players came off worse. A lot of the Kildare team are young, and even though they may be big, they haven't got that toughness that comes with age, but they still have a lot of talented players.
You mentioned age. To a certain extent, I suppose Dublin came of age today, because certainly over the last 2 seasons, I suppose today was their best performance.
Yes, Dublin first half performance must have been as good as Dublin ever played in Croke Park. And the second half, they had to ride out a very difficult phase for about 10 minutes when Kildare kicked very, very good scores from play. But I think Mick Galvin then won a free for Dublin when he held onto the ball and took on his man, and Charlie Redmond kicked a point, and it settled down Dublin again. But Kildare at that stage were very much on top, and then near the end they had 3 goal chances, and if any of those had gone in, it could have altered the game, even with 5 minutes left.
Now Kildare, you've been criticised for criticising the Lily Whites. What are your thoughts now? Do you think that this is a team that could actually win the Leinster Championship shortly?
Yes, I haven't been too popular in Kildare with some of my comments about them, but the reality of the situation is that Kildare have to be able to beat Dublin in a Leinster final to be a really good team, and they haven't managed that yet. In saying that, Kildare need to be patient. Rome wasn't built in a day, and the Kildare team is very good and it's maturing, and it may take another year or maybe 2 years, but I think if they can keep Mick O'Dwyer and hold on to the players that they have some of the best players in Leinster, as shown by their under-21 win. But I think what they need is a couple of players up front, strong physical players who can throw their weight out around a bit and open things up for some of their other lighter forwards.
Dublin to win the All-Ireland?
I think at this stage Dublin will be red-hot favourites, and it is difficult to see them not winning at this stage because they are certainly highly motivated, they're very fit and very well, and it's an intimidating atmosphere for any team from the country to come up to play them in Croke Park in front of a packed Hill 16. I think Kildare may have found that a little bit today, and I think all other teams that visit Croke Park this year will find it the same.
And the Telecom Éireann man of the match from the '92 Leinster final was Keith Barr, Dublin's centre-back, who deserved the gold watch for that brilliant goal alone. Right now we take a break. After that, it's the Connacht football final from